Ladies and gentlemen, Fallout 3, New Vegas and Oblivion are now on sale on GOG.com, and GOG have asked me to talk about some of my favourite mods for two of those games.
Got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle. Jingle, jangle.
Now, for total transparency, full disclosure and that sort of thing, I have to tell you I am a partner of GOG's, which does mean if you click any of the links down below to visit the site and buy one of these games, I do actually get a small commission. I will not be talking about any Oblivion mods in this video because although I have used several such mods, it was so long ago I can barely remember. So I'm going to be sticking with Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and those are two games I've actually created rather a lot of mods for. This is not going to be a comprehensive list of must-have mods because that would take hours. It's just going to show you some of the things that you can do with mods to enhance your game, to whet your appetite, so to speak. The first mod I want to talk about is for Fallout 3, and it's a major overhaul mod called Fallout 3 Wanderers Edition. This will change the game quite dramatically. It makes the wasteland a lot harsher and a far more difficult place to survive, but it also adds tons of new features, bullet time, sprinting, grenade hotkeys, and a lot more. Combat becomes fast-paced and exciting. The choices you make on your character build have more impact and require more thought, and in general you are going to have to play a lot smarter. This mod also adds lots of new equipment, weapons, armor, gadgets, way more weapons than the base game has by an order of magnitude actually. There are tons of new things for you to play around with. This mod was also one of the first mods for Fallout 3 I saw with its own trailer, and it was very cool for the time. I mean, it really was very exciting, and you got to see a lot of the new weapons and features in action. Just be warned, the video does show you what you can do with this mod, but you probably won't do because he uses an awful lot of ammunition and an awful lot of chems just to stay alive, and most people who've used FWE would probably be cringing with how inefficient it was, but it was exciting to watch. Now, when I think of Fallout New Vegas, the first mod that springs to mind is Project Nevada, which is a very similar mod to FWE and indeed is by the same team. It's pretty much a similar mod. It overhauls many aspects of the gameplay, it adds tons of new features, loads of new items, and does some fairly impressive things like completely revamping the cybernetic system in that game. It is also extremely customizable, allowing you to choose which features you want, how you want them set up, how to activate them, and so on. It really has an amazing menu system, and you pretty much can tailor this mod to your own needs. And yes, it also has a trailer, and it is pretty good. It gives you a fairly good idea of the sort of things that have been added, so that's definitely one I recommend you go off and watch before deciding to use this mod. Now, both of the mods I've just mentioned are the sort of mods you probably are going to want to play on a second playthrough. They do change the gameplay quite dramatically, and you might want to play once through each game with the vanilla game mechanics. However, there is one aspect of these games that you may wish to modify immediately even on your first playthrough, and that of course is the graphics, the way the games look. Now, there are loads of mods that will allow you to improve the way both of these games look, and you can change lighting, you can change textures, you can add features like depth of field. There are so many ways to improve the looks of these games that I'm not even going to try and cover them. What I'm going to start with is textures. This is a very important area, especially on games as old as this. And immediately the first mod that comes to mind for both games is the NMC's texture pack. Now, this is an expansive texture pack that adds a hell of a lot of textures, and they really are far higher quality than the game's base textures. This is definitely not the only texture pack that I would use, but it is probably the one I would use as a base, the first texture pack I would install, and then I would install others on top of it. If you're just looking for one mod that will improve the way the game looks immediately, this is probably it. However, be warned, for both games this is a large mod and it will take a little while to download. So you can mod the gameplay, you can mod the way the game looks, but you also can mod new stuff to do. And the first mod that sprang to mind when I thought of Fallout 3 was Mart's Mutant mod. That's probably a little worrying because it means my brain changed stuff to do into stuff to kill, but in a game like this it's kind of the same. And what Mart's Mutant mod does is it adds a lot more enemies. And I don't just mean numerically, I mean types. It adds a lot of creatures and enemies that do not exist in the base game, but it also adds a lot of variation within existing creatures, slight different types, slightly different looks, and it even varies the size of creatures. So if you come across 20 or 30 ghouls all in a pack, they will all look slightly different, which is of course very realistic. All in all, this mod just makes the population of Fallout 3 feel a lot more alive, well, temporarily, a lot more vibrant, and a lot more varied. And with some of the tougher creatures and the fact that you get increased spawn rates, it really will make the game a lot tougher as well. Now, when I thought of Fallout New Vegas and things to do, my first thought was New Vegas Bounties. There are 3 such mods and they are all quest mods, and they are absolutely brilliant. They put you in the role of a bounty hunter hunting down the bad guys of the wasteland, but the characters are great, the dialogue is great, and it's just such an enjoyable series to go through. It really blew me away how involved I got in that story towards the end. In fact, I highly recommend pretty much all of the mods by the mod author called Some Guy 2000, especially the Inheritance and Russell alongside with the Bounties mods. They all actually link together and you will find characters from all the different mods talking about things that happened in the other mods, so it's all really well connected. And there are actually a lot of quest mods for both Fallout 3 and New Vegas, probably more content than the original game and all of its DLC, in fact easily more to be honest. But the New Vegas Bounties ones, those are the ones that jumped out at me straight away. They're probably some of the most popular and deservedly so. If you're going to play Fallout New Vegas, you can actually install these mods straight away and play it on your first playthrough. That they fit the game perfectly, and although they are a little darker, they definitely get darker and darker towards the close of the series. They are absolutely well worth playing. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a teaser as to the sort of things you can do with mods for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. This of course is not a comprehensive list, but hopefully it will have given you a taste of the sort of things you can do via mods. If you try out a few mods and find you want to do more, you want to mod your game to the extreme, I've actually got a couple of video series, one for Fallout 3 and one for New Vegas, where I will show you how to do exactly that. I will take you through the entire process so you can have a heavily modded game. Please be aware these videos are rather old now and some of them are a little out of date in places. Where possible, I've added notes to the description that will tell you my recommended mods where they differ from the ones in the video. For example, in this video I suggest a mod called Unified HUD, which is a mod I created. However, in the description you'll see I now suggest UIO, which is superior to my mod in absolutely every way. Check the description and it should contain links that will take you to where you need to be. If you are new to modding and are thinking of buying either of these 2 games in the GOG sale, or indeed Oblivion as well, I highly recommend them. All 3 games are superb. I'm a big fan of this type of game. If you're new to modding, welcome to the dark side. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you enjoy modding your game as much as many of us do. It really is quite a lot of fun, and it will extend the life of the game beyond your imagination. Some of these games are ridiculously old, and yet we're still playing them today because there's still new and great content. Thank you for listening to me ramble on this far. I hope you can join me for many of my other videos on mods and games. You're more than welcome to do so. I look forward to seeing you there. And until then, remember, have fun.